The first thing I felt was not a feeling at all. It was the absence of feeling. No ache in my back, no tired weight behind my eyes. It was like floating in warm water. A gentle peace settled over me. A peace I had never known on earth. I did not open my eyes right away. I just wanted to stay in that quiet moment. It was a stillness that was full of life, like the quiet of a forest when you know animals are all around you, living their lives in silent harmony. The world I had left behind was full of noise and hurry. This was something different. This was a new beginning. Slowly, I let my eyelids flutter open. There was no harsh sun. There was no dark room. Instead, a soft golden light filled everything. It was not like sunlight. It was warmer, kinder. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I was lying on something that felt like a cloud, but it was solid enough to hold me. It was soft and supportive, like a perfect pillow made of pure comfort. I looked at my hands. They were my hands, but they seemed new. They glowed with a faint, beautiful light. This was not a dream. It was more real than any dream I ever had. I sat up and the cloud held me perfectly. I looked around at this new place. There were colours I'd never seen before, hues of blue and pink and gold that had no name on earth. They shifted and swirled like a gentle watercolour painting. The air itself seemed to sing a quiet song. It was a melody without notes, a feeling of pure joy that you could almost breathe in. I took a deep breath. The air was clean and sweet. It filled me with energy and a sense of wonder. I was not afraid. How could anyone be afraid in a place so beautiful? It was a place made of love. I stood up, expecting to feel the ground beneath my feet, but there was no ground. I was standing on the soft, firm cloud, and I did not feel heavy. I felt light, as if I could float away at any moment. This was the moment I knew I was no longer on earth. The life I had lived with its worries and its joys was over, but this was not an end. It was something else entirely. It was a welcome. It was a homecoming to a place I had never been, but somehow my heart recognized it. I was in heaven, and a new story was about to begin. The sounds of heaven were not like the sounds of earth. On earth, sound can be loud and jarring. A car horn, a loud television, a sudden shout. Here the sounds were a symphony. I could hear a gentle hum, like thousands of voices singing a single perfect note. It was a sound that vibrated deep within my soul. It was the sound of peace and unity. It was the sound of pure happiness. It did not hurt my ears. Instead, it felt like a warm blanket wrapping around me, telling me that everything was okay. It was the sound of everything being exactly as it should be. I started to walk, and with each step, a soft chime echoed. It was not a sound I made. It was a sound the world made in response to me. It was as if the very air was happy I was there. I looked down and saw that the path ahead was made of shimmering light. It looked like a river of liquid stars flowing gently into the distance. I could hear the soft whisper of a breeze, but there was no wind. It was more like the breath of the world, a gentle sigh of contentment. Every sound was part of a larger song, a beautiful and endless piece of music that told the story of love and joy. As I walked, I began to hear laughter. It was not loud or boisterous. It was a gentle, happy sound that floated on the air like bubbles. It came from all around me. It was the sound of pure, simple joy. The kind of joy a child feels when they see something amazing for the first time. It was a sound that made me want to smile, and I found that I was smiling. A real, deep smile that came from my heart. On earth, laughter was often a reaction to something funny. Here, laughter seemed to be the natural state of being. It was the language of happiness spoken by everyone. Then there was the silence. But it was not an empty silence. It was a silence full of meaning. It was the quiet moment between the notes of a song that makes the music beautiful. In that silence, I could feel the love that held this place together. I could feel the presence of something great and wonderful. On earth, silence could be lonely. It could be scary. Here, the silence was a friend. It was a space to think and to feel and to simply be. It was in the quiet moments that I understood the true peace of this incredible place. Heaven did not just have a soundtrack, it was a living, breathing song. I was not alone for long. Soon I saw others. They looked like people, but they shone with the same gentle light that I saw on my own hands. They were angels. They walked with a grace and ease that was breathtaking to watch. Some were gathered in small groups, talking and laughing softly. Others walked alone, a look of peaceful contemplation on their faces. They all had a light in their eyes, a deep and knowing kindness that made me feel welcome. No one seemed to be in a hurry. Time here was different. It did not push you forward. It simply was. An angel with kind eyes and a warm smile approached me. She did not say hello with words. Instead, I felt her greeting in my mind. It was a feeling of welcome, a wave of warmth and friendship that was clearer than any spoken sentence. "Welcome," the feeling said. "We are glad you are here." I found that I could answer in the same way. I did not have to think about the words. I just had to feel them. "Thank you," I thought back. "This place is beautiful." It was a new kind of conversation, one that was honest and pure. There were no misunderstandings, there was only connection. She showed me how to move. She told me to think of where I wanted to go, and I would simply be there. I thought of a beautiful glowing tree I saw in the distance. In the blink of an eye, I was standing beneath its shimmering leaves. It was not like teleporting in a movie. It was a gentle, seamless shift, like turning a page in a book. The angel laughed, and her laughter sounded like tiny bells. She explained that in heaven, thought and reality were connected. What we imagined with love in our hearts could come to be. It was a world built on intention and goodness. I met other angels. Each one was unique, yet they all shared the same core of light and love. We shared stories not with our mouths, but with our hearts. I could feel their life experiences, their joys, their lessons learned, and they could feel mine. It was like sharing a lifetime in a single moment. On Earth, we spend so much time trying to explain ourselves to make others understand us. Here, we were already understood. There was no judgment, only empathy. We were all part of the same celestial family, a chorus of souls singing the same beautiful song of existence together. The most surprising discovery was the wings. I did not see them at first. They were not heavy appendages on my back. They were a part of me, like my arms or my legs. The kind angel who greeted me helped me feel them. She told me to feel the lightness in my back, to imagine soaring through the golden sky. As I did, I felt something unfurl. They were not made of feathers, but of pure light. They were strong and beautiful, and they hummed with a gentle energy. They were a gift, a symbol of my new freedom from the heavy world I had left behind. Learning to fly was not a struggle. It was as natural as breathing. I just had to trust. I pushed off from the cloud I stood on and simply rose into the air. The feeling was incredible. It was a freedom I had only ever dreamed of. I soared through the colourful clouds, past floating gardens of glowing flowers. I could fly fast or slow, high or low. The sky was an endless playground. From up high I could see the vastness of heaven. It stretched on forever, an endless landscape of beauty and peace. Flying was not just a way to travel, it was an expression of joy. Life as an angel was different from life as a human in so many ways. On Earth we are bound by our bodies. We get tired, we get hungry, we get sick. Here there was only energy and light. We did not need to eat or sleep. We were sustained by the love and light that filled this place. On Earth we are separated by distance and language. Here we were connected by thought and feeling. There were no barriers between us. Life was no longer a struggle for survival. It was a celebration of existence. It was a continuous journey of learning and loving. What would I do now as an angel in this perfect place? My purpose was becoming clear. It was not just about enjoying this beauty for myself, it was about sharing it. I learned that we could watch over those still on Earth. We could send them feelings of peace and comfort. We could whisper encouragement into their hearts. During their darkest moments, we could be a small part of the great symphony of love that connects heaven and earth. My journey was not over. It had just begun. My new life was not for me alone. It was a life of service, of love, of being a small light in a vast and beautiful universe.